And that welcomes us to the 66th game of this storyline, with everyone being stuck away from the house at this stage, still due to COVID. But luckily we have 4 players willing to join us online. And tonight online we have David. We'll see if he's there.
He is. Hello. I'm David. I play Plumman Gorinov, an Ethengarian horse lord who is awfully fond of horses and being on horses, and very unhappy about being in worlds that don't allow him to be on horses.
And so you'll be so happy when you finally leave the Hollow World.
Yeah, exactly right. If we could just shoot this god and kill him and get around him, that'd be fantastic.
I'm sure nothing bad will happen.
Oh, no, absolutely.
Moving on to the less horse-loving Emerus.
Hi, my name is Emerus. I play Nasty Stump / Simply Red. Simply Red. Simply Red. A halfling fighter who is missing his stilts and his gadgetry. However, he is very happy that we appear to be coming close to a solution to the god problem.
Yes, kill the current one, and then there's only one. And next person.
Take his place.
Next person up is Jeremy.
Yeah, good evening, all. This evening I'm playing Dmitry Dimitrov, a Keldaran son who just wants to ensure that the world becomes a more knowledgeable place by spreading the joy of wisdom to all.
Not a bad...
He's such a wonderful guy.
Fantastic goal to have in life, I'm sure. And last person we have online tonight is Martin.
Yes, I'm playing Willie Toscobble, the halfling bard. Yeah, that's about it.
So, to give you guys some perspective of how long this game has been going, you started this game on session number 38. And session number 38, if I go back in time, was the 24th of June last year. So, you've been playing this game for this storyline for more than a year now. And yes, I do have all these things.
And let it forever be gone.
You're up to your 5th session on this part of the storyline. You have spent more time in the first part than I expected, and then less as you progressed. But you are finally done with the physical realm. Doesn't mean you're finished with the adventure, but you're finished with the physical realm. So that should at least be some sort of relief for you.
Yeah, 1 year in. Congratulations, you've completed chapter 1.
Well, just to also keep that in perspective, you are 3 years into a 5-year story arc, which means there's another 2 years to go before you get to the main part of the campaign. So this is one of those long-term stories where everything is in sections of 5. So there are 5 years.
So you're saying that we've completed the tutorial?
Oh no, that was the introduction one that you guys did in levels 1 to 5. This is the section where you show you actually know how to use your skills, and the next section is you have to apply them to survive.
Which, okay, if you really want to be concerned about things, David, be aware that Dimitri completed that section 1 to 5 some years before we started this campaign, this part of the campaign.
I can even pull out the date he finished doing that. On the 18th of May 2016 was when he finished doing the intro to this storyline.
So you see, so that's why Dimitri is the most important person in the world. He's been around forever.
And he joined the campaign on the 14th of January in 2015.
If Dimitri was the most important person in the world,
my sound is cut out?
If Dimitri was the most important person in the world, then Barman would have killed it a long time ago so that he could say that he's killed when One person. Oh,
Well, he is the longest running character in the world.
But it's just because Dimitri's so self-effacing and modest that you haven't realised he's the most important person in the world.
oh yeah, he's so humble. Just ask him.
And I'm sure everyone, including himself, would tell you not to bother asking him. Just watch and see what he does.
But that's the thing, he never does anything.
And now you just got
Like,
the
he
point.
cast a spell for the first time, and I think I've ever seen.
Well, he's got a wizard, he's sane.
Okay, so after spending all this time navigating the Hollow World, looking for the two Goblin Princes and the missing Senator, first you watched as the first Goblin Prince sacrificed himself to save you. You then murdered the second Goblin Prince and the Senator.
I don't know that murder is the correct word.
Okay, killed.
When you kill someone while they're trying to kill you, often when they're throwing the first blow, I don't know that it counts as murder.
Okay, you self-defensed the second Goblin Prince and the Senator you were employed to save.
Mm-hmm.
Terminated?
Well,
To be fair,
Executed?
they'd already been lost.
that is true. They had already been lost, and now they cannot be recovered.
Reassigned to a spiritual haven.
I think they love your terminology there, Ariadna, in the background.
Sorry, I stopped screaming at you.
No, I don't mind. I think it's funny. You scream away. So, you managed to break out of the physical world and enter the godly realm of the time stream. And here, while getting freaked out by visions and the way things didn't quite move properly, you managed to stumble into Asterius's trap. It's not the fact that he trapped you, it's the fact that he's trapped in this trap.
Yep.
And at this point here, the last thing he said to you, I'll read that section again. As you pierce the barrier, you feel of it is a thin silk tearing. Beyond you see pure white light so bright it blinds you. And even after you're blinded, somehow you still see. It stretches into the distance in all directions. There is nothing here except the light. But you feel much more than you see. You feel you're being watched, being analysed down to your bones. It's like something is rifling through your mind and casually examining your deepest secrets. After all you've seen, this frightens you more than you can bear.
It's Facebook.
You turn to run, but there's nowhere to go. The barrier is gone, and you can't log off Facebook. Thanks to Ariadna.
Sorry.
The voice sounds in your mind. The voice you used to think of as your own thoughts. It says, I am Asterius. Who has guided you on the long journey here. You have done well, but the end is not achieved. The world you know, beneath, and the sky within the core remain in peril. Those who protect this plane have gone into the past, lured away by the guile and treachery, lured by the eldest one of our number, Thanatos. And at that point there, I'd said that would be a great time for you guys to come up with questions you wish to ask him. So now we're stepping back in, and who would like to go first and ask the god of... What's he the god of again? He is the god of cleverness, communication, healing, merchants, money, profit, thieves, trade, and travel. So many things.
But they say technically he's filling in the role of everyone at the moment. So.
He is currently the main reason you still have access to your abilities, spells, and artifacts.
Yeah.
And have a purpose. You have a destiny. So, Jeremy, you're first.
Well, I say, Dimitri's first thought that probably comes out loud is the sense of, yeah, so you're the one that interrupted my sleep all this time. Or didn't interrupt my sleep, one of the two. So, either way, yes. Well, you say that your fellows are trapped in the past?
Yes, they are trapped in the past, and at this point, you have memories of someone by the name of Prayer Deer traveling to another world bereft of magic. And he says, unless you can bring them back, this world will suffer the same fate as the one you see in your mind.
Yeah. That's the influence of Thanatos
Unchecked.
in Ultimate. Unchecked, yeah.
It is Thanatos unchecked.
Well, presumably there's a reason that you haven't gone and got them?
Yes. I have been trapped by Thanatos in this device. It's a sheath that traps me and delays the return of his fellows. If he can delay them long enough, they will never return.
And so you want us to do it for you?
He does want you to do it for him because, you currently are in the best position to do so, but there is a price, as with everything. Nothing is free.
Well, of course nothing's free. My services don't come cheap.
He says it may be your very life at stake.
Well,
Maybe a lot at stake.
Your very life at stake. For if you die now, you will never come back. You are outside the time stream. Death here is permanent death for your kind.
well, if you say that our failure will result in the world of Francia, that makes us dead anyway, really.
Yes, but the thing is, you can be brought back and continue to live out for the next 20 to 50 years while Thanatos slowly strips the world of life.
Clement rolls his eyes. Yes, look, that's all good. Well, let's just get to the chase or create the fine nonsense. What do we do? What would you like us to do? How do we do it? Because obviously we're going to do it. Like, we're not going to walk. Come on, Anthony, what do we need?
Okay, he says...
So Clement has learned to meet you in real life.
He says that I am offering you a part of my power. You can escape from this prison, for it is not tuned to your spirits. Do not think to engage Thanatos, for he is far beyond even my strength, as I am beyond yours. Rather, go back to the headwaters of the Emerald River, alert the Immortals there, and bring them back. They will foil him. But quickly, your mortal forms cannot contain my power for long. If you contain the power of a god, it will slowly burn you up until there's nothing left, and no god can bring you back from that. And at that point, you feel each of you suddenly you watch as your body is jerked away from your spirit and left floating. And you see what appears to be a tiny version of yourself which you're floating over, as well as seeing from your body this giant version of you floating over you. And you feel your mind moving from the smaller version to the larger version. Okay, so we'll start off with Jeremy. What does everyone see when they see Jeremy's spiritual self?
Dimitri is someone who knows himself, and the appearance of Dimitri in his own mind is in fact very like the Dimitri they see every day, except he doesn't have red hair. His hair is the dark brown, approximately shoulder length, and
Blowing in the breeze.
yeah, well, slightly. It's a bit somewhat flowing, but but yes, he does appear probably slightly taller, slightly more. His bearing is greater, but nobility is bearing, all that kind of stuff. Like he sees himself as perfect in just the way he is.
Okay. Now we move on to Emerist. How does Simply see himself?
So you said there's a larger version and a smaller version, right?
Yep, so the smaller version is what you look like to everyone else. The larger version is how you perceive yourself.
Right, so towering over us is a small orphan boy, covered in dirt and scratches, obviously malnourished, and wearing rags that he found on the street.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then we move on to how does Willie see himself? From Martin.
I'd say, well, is this the point when I introduce an alternate character, or what's the deal?
So this is the point where you introduce the spiritual view of yourself.
How does Willie see himself? That maybe it's completely different person. Yep.
Yeah, well, he's a wood elf to start with, and doesn't wear any armor. Yeah, that's about it.
So your spiritual self of Willie is that of a beautiful looking wood elf?
Well, it's male, but yeah, it could be beautiful, yeah.
Most elves are beautiful compared to everyone else until you stack another elf beside them.
Alright, yeah.
Okay, so, and that brings us to Playman. How does David describe Playman's spiritual self?
Well, I think we can all pretty much guess that. We all know that Plumman is a great, mighty, bare-chested, long black hair flowing in the wind warrior, full of muscles and just beaming with radiance and greatness. He always stares meaningfully into the distance. He is a superhero.
So kind
and obviously on foot.
And he has the most magnificent tattoo. And I'm sure he has the most magnificent tattoo of a horse on his chest.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's so lifelike you can actually see the horse running.
So he's like a thinner, wider version of Maui. I feel like that's cultural appropriation, but okay.
That's okay, they have them in this setting. And they are awesome people. And they are related to the Ethangarians.
In fact, going deeper into that, two giant, majestic war horses emblazoned his chest.
And as you watch, they move and prance and look majestic on his chest.
So how tall did you say he was?
About 3 million feet tall.
Right, yep, okay. Because Dimitri, like I said, like he's normally 5'2". In this, he might be approaching 5.5 feet.
In this setting, like the perfect version of Plumman is about 6 foot.
Mm-hmm.
Only because he needs to be able to ride Ethangarian horses.
Okay, and then you find yourself outside the sheath. And you hear some words in your heads. Now you must learn to control the power, or it will control you. Make haste. You find yourself floating high above the green river that stretches away on either side of you into infinity. The current just beneath you is turbulent and unpredictable. Behind that frontier, however, each rivulet is fixed and unmoving as though made of glass. This is the time stream. The present moment is under you, and behind lies that of history of all places, of everything that has ever been. If you could slide across the river, the cross-section would be the entire universe at one moment of time. Overhead, as distant as the stars, you see bright threads of light stretching across a brilliant green void. Each of these threads is another universe like this one. But even now, you don't have the power to reach them. Beneath you, you see your own little pebbles of existence floating through the current. One little world, small as a coin. You can pick out little life paths on that dot. The lives of individual people and creatures. You can sense what they are and where they've been. But what about the future? You try to look ahead of the river's flow, but it's all misty grey. The river is flowing, and you realise you can change its course.
That'll be perfectly safe in Dimitri's hands. No problem.
Okay. So at this point, I will let you know that your characters have lost 1 point of Constitution.
Oh.
And each part of the story coming forward, you will lose 1 point of Constitution until you reach 0 and your character burns up. That is your time limit. How much Constitution you have.
Okay.
I'm guessing I don't take advantage of the Amulet of Health.
It does not. Well, look at it this way. You can be traveling around as if you've got a 18 or 19 Constitution. But if your actual Constitution score ever reaches 0, that's still the same effect.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can we, like when we move, can we move like at will? Do we need to bring something to the head? What's the...
As you think about movement,
interaction?
You start to imagine yourself traveling with whatever your ideal form of movement is in that direction.
That would be a massive pirate galleon with flowing sails and
Simply Red at the helm.
Yep. And I'd like to kind of prompt everyone else to jump on it if they can.
Dimitri doesn't move.
Hell no. Hell no. Did somebody say giant, majestic flying horses?
So how about I just take all the NPC characters who aren't here right now? I'll just beckon them on.
I don't mind getting on the ship.
Okay, so a couple of you get on the ship. Apparently, you are now captain of the ship with a couple of crew members, Simply Red.
And then I think we should start moving towards the place. I've forgotten the name for a second, but where the Immortals are.
Beginning of time.
Except that Exterior said to actually practice your powers first.
I thought this would be practicing our powers. My worry is that, if we get spurred up before we get there, we won't be able to do it.
Simon swings a mighty fist at Simply Red's ship.
Yep. Okay, give me a attack roll.
Somebody roll that for me, please.
6. Welcome to the session.
Okay, so I will also say at this point, you swing this mighty fist that looks bigger than the ship, and apparently it impacts the ship with this mighty thud as the ship pushes your fist out of the way.
Cool.
Apparently his ship was bigger than your fist.
Valid much.
Well,
That's fine. Simon just goes around and tries to find shit to hit.
Can we see our environment at the moment? You're saying we're looking at the Emerald River.
You're currently floating
we can
over
see the other universes as lights in the distance.
as lights above you, like stars in the sky.
Yeah.
You can see a slice of time beneath you, which you can see the world in and travel to any point in that world you wish to.
Do we have any indication of where we need to go? Like, is there a glowing light Or has we instilled a memory into our mind or something?
Okay.
We've really got to go upriver.
Well, more downriver. The stream. It's technically upriver. Yes, it's where.
I was going to say, I would have thought it was upriver in the sense that the river is the flow of time, but the future is turbulent and misty.
Whereas
Where we are is the present, and we're really going to go upriver to the past. Yeah.
You can see the past quite easy to get to. The future seems a misty nothingness.
Dimitri will aim to go to Caldara, the Karameikos, to actually see home.
Okay, you see Dimitri just speed off in an instant.
Teleport.
Just looking as if he's just standing still. But they do see the streak as you appear in the middle of the Hollow World, in the lands of the Traldara. Not your homeland, but the lands of the people preserved in the culture of your people before they fell.
That's not what I was looking for.
But this is the lands of the Traldara, as your brain catches up to you and tells you this may not be your homeland, but this is the lands of the Traldara. Your lands are no longer the lands of the Traldara that you grew up in, because that is now its past, not its present.
Mm-hmm. In which case, then, he will attempt to go to Karameikos.
At which point, then he pops through the planet, and everyone else can see him appear in the forests of Karameikos, not far from where he grew up.
That's lovely.
Give me a wisdom saving throw.
12 plus moment. Total of 17.
17. Okay, you manage to keep control of yourself as you teleport.
Okay.
You do feel the power of movement quite disconcerting, because no ability needed to be activated to move. You simply will it, and it happened.
Yeah. Dimitri's perfect form. We would definitely teleport. 91.
Yep.
Flyman imagines a great and mighty spear appearing in his hand.
Mm-hmm.
Says anything happens.
Let me roll for you. Apparently, a greaty mighty thing does appear in your hand. And you look down at your hand, you realize it's actually in your hand. Not on your hand.
There's what in my hand?
The creature that you tried to manifest appears under your skin, looking up at you from your hand.
What is it?
The steer that I believe you were asking for a horse.
No, a spear, I think.
A spear. Okay,
Yes,
sorry.
Spear.
The spear is in your hand under the skin.
Under the skin. Right.
It looks to be long and majestic as you imagined it, but you can't quite reach it.
That's annoying.
Is Simurak still
He
with
imagines
us?
a very simple knife.
Simurak will be left in the trap that we got out of.
The very simple knife appears before you.
He grabs it and tries to cut the spear out.
You have no problems removing the spear from your hand with a natural 20.
Nice.
Or removing your hand from the spear, one of the two. My hand from the body.
Yep. He'll take the spear and throw it at Dimitri.
Okay, Dimitri gets to make a reflex saving throw as a godly spear comes flying at him.
Dexterity saving throw.
Yep.
18.
I believe it hits you. You lose another point of Constitution.
Oh, fuck! Sorry. Plumman laughs heartily, then moves over towards Dimitri and removes the spear. Or at least tries to.
There is no spear to remove. You see impact with a great force.
Plumman very half-heartedly apologizes.
Can I steer my galleon upriver?
Yes, you start going back in time, and you can't sense the others. Everyone on your ship is moving with you.
I'm sure they'll be able to catch up on their horses.
So, just confirming. So, Plumman appeared over Karameikos, did he? Or?
Yes, with his flying horses.
Yep, okay.
You can see an entire herd of flying horses filling the sky above you.
An interesting test.
Yes, look, he told me to test the power. He
Indeed.
told me to test the powers. I do apologize. But you'll be right. You're a strong man. You're a
It was a
strong
worthy
man.
test. I should have dodged.
Yes. Next time, pay attention. Also, I've been wanting to do that for a very long time. It was kind of deserved.
What's the apparent current status of Karameikos?
Looking at Karameikos, it is currently frozen in time, as you are still outside of time, and you can see birds in mid-flight. You can see animals appearing to be mid-moving. There is this person nearby mid-swing cutting a tree down. There are kids playing in the field nearby.
Dimitri, is this where you're from?
But no sound or movement.
Okay. So, seemingly, there's been little apparent change in this particular location, is that right?
This one doesn't look like much has happened, except you do notice that the church that you used to go to, the holy symbol's been pulled off the front of it. And it appears to have been burnt in the town, in the village centre.
Oh, damn.
Apparently, folk got annoyed at the loss of Immortals.
Well, when God doesn't...
Dimitri, is this where you're from? Is this your home?
It is a town called Haven. So, I have spent time here.
It's a bit boring, isn't it? And what is that church? Why have they burnt that holy? What goes on here?
Probably because the gods have not been paying attention for the last however long we've been trapped down in the Hollow World.
You realise
Yes, they are outside.
You realise it's been more than 4 months, close to 5 months.
Don't go down there. Bring back faith. We are acting on behalf of the god.
Yeah, that is, so yeah, that church would be a church of Hallov.
Yes, but I mean, you're after church, like religion in general, bringing peace to the people through divinity. You know how things go like that.
I get understand that this question for Martin, just confirming the fact that
Well,
church is actually a church of Hallov.
It
Church of Karameikos, possibly.
it is a church of Traldara,
Okay.
one of the older churches.
Dimitri will allow his man to go red,
Mm-hmm.
and aim to manifest above the town of Haven.
Mhm.
And
Are you sure it's Haven? Because I believed it was called something else.
was it Haven? Oh, Threshold.
Threshold, yes, was Threshold was where you
Sorry,
spent.
Haven's the town to the south. Yeah, sorry, yeah. So Haven was where Lady Harley lived. Yeah. Sorry, yes, Threshold is what I meant. So
Yeah,
you're
easy map.
getting above the town of Threshold, noticing the loss of faith. And he will make the statement of like a statement of appearing to be hallowed. Apparently, it looks like him already when he makes his hair go red rather than brown. That the gods will once again be returning to aid your lives.
Okay, give me
Okay.
a wisdom saving throw.
Total of 10.
Okay, so you manage to manifest. You see things start to move as you do so, but you feel yourself cost yourself another point of constitution in doing so.
Oh.
But you do feel your power reach out and touch those within Threshold and nearby Verge, where you spent most of your time.
Yep. I'm very interested. What about Haven in my head?
Haven is all the way over here on the map.
There is a Haven. Okay.
There is a
Yep.
Haven. You did adventure there. You were stuck there for some time, and then forgot all about it because of the Lake of Lost Dreams.
Right.
Which you now remember because you're now a god.
Attempting to hide the spasm of pain that appears to manifest that power, he will quickly disappear again,
Yep.
and
So then, as you disappear, you hear a strange sound in the distance. Which surprises you because most of the time you haven't really heard much because nothing's really been moving. But it sounds like the clang of sword against sword, the whisper of a dying breath, the sound of breaking bones, and the howl of wind off a forest fire.
Does Plummet hear that?
You both hear it.
Oh, I mean, Plummet immediately goes to it.
And you sense a huge invisible presence coming towards you, and in your head you hear, "Flee to the past. It is Thanatos. He has found you."
Yeah, gonna flee to the past.
Okay. So, as you guys flee, you see the boat in the distance ahead of you.
I guess the herd of horses will turn into a single horse, and Plummet will land on the boat.
Mm-hmm. You have your majestic horse standing on the majestic boat, with the majestic Dimitri standing nearby.
Yes, only he's not really that really majestic. He's just a beast.
In the very hazy far distance, the river's course seems to narrow by a trick of perspective to a single point. This is the beginning of time, the headwaters of the Emerald River. As it stretches away before you, you're flying into the past with the speed of thought. But there are distances and spans of time that your thoughts cannot comprehend. In the extreme distance at the headwaters of the river, you make out what seems to be a mountain. But you know somehow that these must be the Immortals. You travel easily into the past as you're flying over a rolling meadow. Your speed increases with each second. If your idea means anything here, you wonder how much history you're covering. Behind you, the invisible presence of Thanatos grows visible, darker with every moment. Large as the sky, he looks like the dusk, with the night spreading across the sky from horizon. You can see spots of light inside his form, coloured brown and yellow. An awful smell reaches you as he approaches.
Are we going to be able to make it to the mountain before he gets to us?
You do not know.
Dimitri's certainly suggesting you might want to put on more sail. So, while he's saying that, Dimitri will actually aim to effectively create a blanket of fog filling up the whole span behind us.
Okay, give me a charisma saving throw.
Charisma saving throw?
Yep.
Oh, natural 20, helpful. So that makes 19.
Okay, so you managed to make this wall of fog appear behind you so thick you can't see anything through it. As you do this, everyone starts to have visions. And you're seeing what appears to be 200 years in the past, outside the Nithian Empire's capital of Tarthus. You see the Brethren, two thin, twisted goblin figures climbing into the mouth of a great worm. It's as big as a cavern, and they look ragged and tired, but they seem to be in full control of it. Behind them comes the sounds of an angry mob. Nithians by the dozens are chasing the Brethren, armed with torches, wands, and rods. The great worm closes its mouth, swallowing the Brethren, and you sense them inside, safe in suspended animation. As the mob comes into view, the giant worm slithers away into the tunnels. You sense, with your new awareness, that the tunnel towards the outer world. In Nithia, the angry citizens will smash monuments, deface inscriptions, and remove every trace of evidence that the Brethren ever lived there. Beyond that, your awareness grows less clear, but you realize that these Brethren will safely reach the Broken Land and rule its goblins as tyrants, starting a dynasty that reaches down to Prince Kano and Prince Udan in your own time. The Brethren themselves won't see it. A band of adventurers will finally trap their spirits under Barcom Monastery, where you first encountered your trip to the Hollow World.
And they'll be watched over by a wise old owl. A talkative wise old owl.
As you
Never mention that owl ever again.
Is that another party?
no, the owl was a former adventurer trapped in bird form, who was the first time that David had cast Speak with Animals and actually had a conversation with a former druid who basically was too intelligent for Playman to want to continue conversing.
Right.
Playman was like, "Can I just stop the spell now? Please, can I just stop? Can it run out?"
Right.
He just wouldn't shut up.
So, if it's the sort of thing that Dimitri saw a lot of himself in the owl, the opportunity to try and pass on wisdom that was just not heard.
And you find yourself banking out of the time stream again as Simply Red's getting the best speed he can. And as it clips the time stream again, you have another vision. This time you see the Brethren are making trouble throughout the Nithian Empire. You see pyramids scarred with their monograms, innocent citizens turned into silhouettes and vanishing, and the great Pharaoh himself bowing to the Brethren as they sit in twin thrones in the royal palace. In the shadows behind the thrones, an elderly wizard in white robes is looking up at the Brethren nervously. You sense that he is thinking back on an ancient experiment gone wrong, the creation of the monsters called the Gnolls. The Nithians created them as servants, but the servants rebelled. The wizard named Soracris is mumbling to himself, "Would that I had learned from my forefathers' mistake." And you find yourself back out into the above the river again, with the Natos still chasing you.
Dimitri's certainly going to remember the names, of course.
Mm-hmm. And
If he created the Gnolls that then invaded Caldara.
yes, it's one of those.
He didn't create Shadow Knoll, did he?
I'm sure he's the instigator behind the whole Knoll incident.
Yep. It's all his fault.
One Knoll led to another.
Martin,
Yep.
Plummet attempts to bridle and harness all of his great mob of horses and attempts to fix them to the front of the ship to gain speed.
Okay, so in front of the ship, a bunch of horses appear, pulling it along, with the wind in the sails also picking up at the same time as you seem to take off further down the time stream. And you clip the time stream again. This time, you see a Nithian sorcerer that you saw before, stooped over a crucible in the dark, in a dark, smelly alchemist laboratory. He seems to be torturing a pair of goblins. Sensing more deeply, you realize he's transforming them into the Brethren. A dark figure stands behind the sorcerer, instructing him. As the magical energy flows from me to you, it says, so let the energy flow into these insensible forms. When you are through, they will command magic beyond reason as your obedient servants. The figure looks like another Nithian wizard, to mortalize, that is. With your new senses, you detect the aura of power around him. This is Thanatos himself. As you realize this, he turns to stare right at you. Before your eyes, he transforms into a huge black raven, and he chases you back out of the time stream, and you continue moving down the river.
Do we still appear to have the fog bank behind us?
You do, but you now have the creature, the raven, following you between the fog bank and your ship. You've left the fog bank far behind.
Okay, yeah, so it's not following, it's not staying with us.
Well, now we know where Ballard's raven comes from.
The raven of death is not bad.
So we're travelling towards the mountain.
Yep.
Thanatos is travelling towards us, right?
Yep.
If we do a quick, can I roll a perception or something to see whether or not we will be able to get there before he catches up?
Well, each time you dip into the time stream, he seems to be further back.
So we're getting away from him.
You are currently getting away from him, but he's catching up whenever you come out of the time stream.
Like I said, when we're out of the time stream, he moves faster than us. But
Yep.
presumably when we're in the time stream, whilst we're not actually going backwards anymore, he's not actually finding us immediately.
Okay. Is there anything that we can do to maintain our position in the time stream for longer?
Not really, because you might then find yourself caught out of time. Because at this
And
point,
the problem with being in the time stream is we can't then be moving backwards to where the Immortals are.
and at this point, you will all notice you lose one more point of Constitution.
Awesome. So can I continue moving the boat along
Yep.
the time stream with the... I don't know whether I can have a held action or something, whether it looks like he is going to catch up, that I can be prepared at the back of the ship to do something.
You can decide that when you think he's going to catch up, to dip into the time stream and make him catch up all over again.
Oh, that hurts.
It's basically start again from a distance and catch up, and that's basically what's happened each time.
Alright, well, can we do this in the opposite direction?
He fills up everything in the future.
Dimitri will attempt to effectively create mirror images of the boat and the horses and everything like that,
Okay,
and make them scatter in different directions.
give me an intelligence check.
17 intelligence, 22.
Okay, you see 6 versions of the boat split off in different directions, all going down the time stream in different ways. And as you see behind you, the Raven splits into 7 versions of itself, each following a different version of the ship.
Fuck.
At least now it's only 1/7 big power coming at us.
That's a bold assumption.
Absolutely, considering that the three-dimensional concept of being in one place all the time no longer applies.
But I will say the fact that, like, I mean, 1/7 of infinity is still a lot less, isn't it?
And
Not really, because if one of them is just a link to the one power, then they would all be the same power.
And the strange thing that you all notice is you're actually on each of those boats at the same time.
Yep.
So it's not a mirror; it's an exact copy of your ship and everyone aboard.
Oh, hey, I don't do things by halves.
And you can actually see out of each set of eyes.
No, Jeremy, you did it by 7s, apparently.
Exactly. 7's the magic number. It gives 7 chances to get there now.
Oh, yeah.
And as Thanatos almost reaches you, you hit the river again. This time, you see centuries of war, brutal slaughter. And you see tribes of what you know to be brute men, the savages of the polar wastes. This time, they live all over the world. They are the dominant civilization. The great annelids, the worms, and other monsters, even worse, live beneath them. New civilizations rise, the brute men are pushed back, their numbers dwindle. Then you feel the new order sweeping around you like a wind. The Immortals pluck forth some of the doomed creatures and transport them to a new land sealed with mighty protective magic. The new arrivals would flourish like orchids in a hothouse. And you realize you've just witnessed the creation of the spell of preservation.
And I was going to say, yeah, so Demetriou would actually be keen to try and be watching and try and know as much of that process as he can.
And
the fact that it'd be nothing.
As you're watching, a raven appears behind you, gigantic, and you sweep back out of the time stream over the Emerald River. High up, you see the dividing line. Before you, further back in history, before the spell, the Emerald River is coarse, turbulent, and barren. You look behind you, past Thanatos, past the line where the spell took effect. The Emerald River runs placid, peaceful, its rivulets forming a beautiful pattern. So before
preservation is not necessarily all bad. It certainly brings order.
It brings stability to time. And with the guidance of your amazing helmsman, you reach the headwaters of the Emerald River as it bulges in curves and sprays. Like a rapid fixture in one moment, within its depths you see frozen explosions and turbulent masses of colour. It looks not merely beautiful, but awe-inspiring. So do the figures that loom around you. Large as you are, these are like mountains, the true Immortals. You see a long dinosaur tail stretching across your field of view like a ridge of land. And behind it, a tree that reaches up as high as you want to look. And there are others, you speed towards them. And in front of you, Thanatos looms up from the river. You're going too fast to stop, and he's too large to avoid. You collide at full speed, but you don't hit anything. His body just vanishes like black smoke, leaving you feeling dirty and smelly. And you look back at what's left, and you see the real Thanatos still pursuing you. With your increasing awareness, you instantly realize he sent a phantasmal duplicate of himself to the start of time, so the other Immortals would not grow suspicious of his absence. Before you can call the other Immortals' attention to the illusion's disappearance, the real Thanatos moves into its place, occupying it exactly. You look around, the other Immortals seem not to have noticed, and now Thanatos is spreading out, preventing your escape back into the future. What do you do?
Okay, so would you say we're like surrounded by a ring of lights and such?
You are surrounded by over 100 gods. There is probably about 170 that you can pick out with just looking at them, plus more that you still can't comprehend in your level of consciousness.
Okay, can I step off the boat?
Yep.
And using my powers, make myself of an equal size?
You can try, but they always seem to be bigger.
Yeah, but I might get their attention.
Okay, so as you step off and try to get their attention,
Do you want to do?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I think we do. Absolutely.
Yeah, no. If I can grow as big as I can and glow as bright as I can, like I want to use everything that I have inside of me, all of the power inside of me, regardless of cost. I wish to make myself seen.
okay,
That's
so
the single thought I have in my head.
okay, who do you want to appear to? Unfortunately, Simarak is the only god you cannot appear to because he is not here.
Not Thanatos, because he obviously sees us, because he's a dick. I'm not great with other gods. Oh no, wait. Wait.
Well, are you trying to appear before a specific god, or are you trying to appear before all of them?
I want to be all of them. I want everyone to see what's happening.
You want to try and be the center of attention.
What do we got? I'm reading it because I think Martin quietly put something in front of me.
Oh, I've got the list of gods. So if you were to pick any god, I could dig them out and refer to them quite easily.
Can I have, Dimitri, would you have a suggestion?
Well, okay. Dimitri will be trying to actually... he'll look out for Halav as his first point of call.
Okay.
Okay.
But if you're going for it's specific, like if you're going for the big gods type stuff, you want to try and grab attention of everyone. You should be looking at people like Ka and Ixion, things like that.
The top god you're looking for are Ixion for energy, Ordana for time, especially Ordana and Kronos for time, Terra for earth, Odin for thought, Hel for entropy.
I would think Kronos and the other one for time.
Okay, so yes, you managed to appear for the Lord of Time himself, Kronos, and gain his attention. So while you're doing that, Dimitri's trying to grab Halav's attention.
Yep.
And who is Playman trying to get the attention from? The god of the sun of the life of his people, or Terra, the person who gives life to the horses. I think we have lost a Playman. So while we're waiting for a Playman, who would Willie want to appear before?
Redrian.
Redrian. Okay. As you look around, the only god you don't see here is standing in front and prominent is Redrian.
Yeah, a little bit.
So, David, you're back. Are you back?
He's muted himself again,
Okay.
he wasn't on mute before. He's gone, but he's now on mute. So.
Okay. So yes, Redrian doesn't appear to be up front and visible, but you do see him at the back hiding.
Yeah, no, just give me a few minutes.
All good.
All right. Well, I'd still like to seek him out, so I don't want to piss off the other gods by just ignoring them, but I would like to get to the back if possible.
Okay, you manage to weave between the gods and find Redrian standing on the edge of them. He looks down at you surprised, having only encountered you recently when he sent you off to go and investigate the happenings in the land. Yeah. And the fact that you have traveled through time is quite remarkable to him. And you also notice that he does look very alien here with his green skin and otherworldly appearance.
Okay, so is he further along in time, or is he reverted to a previous self in time?
This is his true self. This is when he's actually Benny Kanda is his name as a god. And
remember, technically, Redrian is not someone you know of as a god. He's the guy. He's the guy you meet in Garrican.
Okay.
and he's actually
So I've got written Redrian / Benacanda, but
Yeah,
Ben-
well,
Ben-
as
Benacanda.
players,
it's the same.
as player, it's the fact that Benacanda is officially the god. Redrian is, in some manner, his avatar, but as far as the characters are concerned, he's just a very powerful wizard that happens to be follower of Benacanda.
All right. So
Acting on behalf
which aspect is this?
this is the Benacanda aspect, which is the true god.
Right.
And
so I
that's-
do recognise him as the god that I worship, but it's not that. Prominent.
He doesn't seem as powerful as the other gods here. He seems more powerful than you, but only in a small sense.
Okay.
So in a game sense, he is a level 1 god in comparison to Ixion, who is a level 36 god.
Right.
So he's a beginning god.
Which is why he's sitting in the background at the moment, trying to be a bit less noticeable.
But I mean that's the god that I worship. So it's not.
Yeah, and
So it's not like. I mean, I can't ignore all the other level 36 gods.
He's happy for you to come and talk to him.
A level 1 god because that's the god I worship.
And as you actually reach him, you realize that he is one and the same. Redrian is his manifestation form in the real world, trying to find out what's going on. And he has traveled back in time, following the gods as they left the time stream to find out why they had gone back in time, which is why he left the time stream. He wasn't invited, he followed them. They don't know of his existence as yet, as you can tell by seeing him.
Okay.
They have
so
no
it's actually
way.
quite interesting in the sense that potentially as a party, we've accidentally done probably a good option in the sense that we've got one guy going for the head shed to beat everyone. Dimitri's gone for somewhat middle of the road with Halev, and you've gone at the other end of the spectrum. So it means that we've probably got effectively everything covered. So.
And so you've managed to meet someone who the other gods don't even know exists and follow, which is not a bad thing. This is me as a GM letting you know at this point in time the other gods do not recognize him as a god, even though he does have power and has been your god for this time.
And also it's particularly...
The other thing to...
Sorry, go on.
Yeah, so the other thing to look at is that because he's such a low-level god, he can potentially be much more accessible, and you can relay your message through him. So I dare say you're going to have more chance of speaking to him because he is a low-level god, and he's going to have more chance of speaking to the other gods because he actually
he's got less parishioners.
So, but I guess it's also the fact that I think part of that absolutely you're more likely to be able to speak to him because he's low level and more likely willing to talk to you. But yes, whether or not he's got any influence on the gods, if we have any trouble convincing the rest of them, that might be more challenging. But one thing that will be important from Willie Toskobble's perspective is that recognition that now, as a character, he understands what players knew, that Benacanda and Redrian are the same thing.
And the big thing that you're picking up here is the other gods do not recognize Benacanda as existence at this point in time.
Yeah. So I mean, it might be very hard for Benacanda to try and get their attention, even if you convince him.
He is trying very hard to remain invisible to the other gods' awareness.
All right, I'm sorry I drew attention.
I know. You've moved into his bubble of hiding, so the other gods cannot perceive you either.
Okay.
Because the other thing is that would probably fit with the concept that Redrian or Benacanda requested us to go and find out about stuff that was happening in the world, particularly the instigation of new religions or religions acting in funny ways. Possibly part of that is the fact that he recognises that the gods have been influenced in something, so he hasn't announced himself to the gods because he's unconcerned about which gods he wants to announce himself to you.
And that's exactly what you pick up while you're in that bubble with him, is he's trying to figure out what's gone wrong with the gods and why they're acting so crazy. And why they
Sorry
decided to all go
interrupt
back
you,
in
Mark,
time.
Just
Yep,
while I have reception.
all good.
Plummet is not going to actively do anything at the moment, but he will wait until everybody else has essentially failed. He has a plan for how to.
Okay. He has a plan, a cunning plan. We shall come back to him in a moment.
Yes.
Okay. So you've managed to pick up that interesting bit of information that even some of the players did not know. So Willie now understands a bit about what Benakanda is about and why he has remained hidden from the rest of the immortality side of things, because he doesn't trust them. And then we move over to Jeremy meeting Halav.
Okay.
As you meet him, you get a connection that you find is that he is your direct ancestor through your grandmother,
Okay.
who you met in Hollow World.
Did I meet my mother in Hollywood? Like in Millennium, you mean?
No, you met your grandmother by giving her fortune in gold to help her look after the needy.
Oh, okay, right.
There was a reason there was a connection there. And she did come from Karameikos, remember?
Indeed, that's right. And she came at the time that, yes, yeah. So, well, okay, that obviously makes Dimitri feel much more... he's much less confused as to why he actually was giving away money all that time.
And
yes, he will be...
he notices you.
Contact Halav and tell him the information that we got from Asterius about the fact that Thanatos has cut them all in the past, and that the fact that you've been away for so long from the world, the people have been destroying your temples in Karameikos.
Okay. And as you're talking to Halav, you notice that your words seem to twist and say something else.
Hmm?
And
do I understand what I'm saying? What else they're saying, or?
Well, as you try to say something, you find that your words come out as, "We are visitors to this plane. We heard of your investigations here at the dawn of existence, and we thought to join you." As you get a welcoming from fellows of the Unending, is what you gather the Immortals call themselves. "We are glad to have visitors. One of our number, Thanatos, has told us of great evils that arose in this era and lay dormant into our own. We hope to learn about them. Cast forth your awareness as you will."
Okay, well, Dimitri's certainly going to take a couple of attempts to get the words out that he wanted to get out, as opposed to what apparently came out, and then try to work out why his words are not what he thinks he's saying.
And you also notice that Willie has disappeared. You cannot even sense him near you.
Okay.
That's good still.
What about Simply Red with his discussions with the higher-ups?
Well, that's just about to happen after we see how you go, because you are approaching the lower end of the gods. The higher end of the gods are a lot harder to approach.
Okay, yep. So, which is the reason that Dimitri went that way on the sense of, hey, he's probably more likely to get attention from Hello than he was from others right now. And so does Hello presumably has that welcome for the unending type bits and pieces, a bit like thing, but does he recognise Dimitri as a descendant in any way?
At this stage, he does not. You think he sees you as something other than you are.
Right. Okay. As I said, Dimitri's going to be trying a few attempts to say the words what he means to say and try and work out why they're not working.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so while you're doing that, we shall move over to Simply Red as you approach Kronos and Ordana. Basically, husband and wife of the gods.
Okay.
Well, the gods of time, anyway.
Can I lead with Simarak sent us, we need your help, and then see what comes out?
And you feel yourself, we are visitors to this plane.
Right. So as that happens, can I stop talking?
Yep. And your mouth keeps talking and giving off the rest of the
I don't even
situation.
care about that. Can I, every single piece of power that Simarak has given me, I wish to bring to the forefront and show to them.
Okay.
I don't care if it hurts me. I don't care if it loses constitution. I want to pinpoint every single piece of it into a call for help.
I'm going to make that a
and
strength
push it
check.
through the illusion.
Give me a strength check.
19 plus 4. So 23.
Okay, so you see Simply Red get angry at someone trying to use words for him as cracks start to form all over Simply Red. And you see spurts of life force go out in various directions. You do lose 4 constitution for the effort, but you have managed to get the attention of all the gods. They say, hold, let us read your auras. And each have a moment of concentration as they all gaze on you in strength.
Whereas obviously,
Garth immediately goes to Simply Red and lends every piece of strength that he has to him.
Okay.
Dimitri was obviously not going to give himself like that. His second attempt was going to be to basically pull up a blackboard and start writing words.
Amusingly, that would have worked, Jeremy. So you could even have casted an illusion of yourself saying the correct words, and that would have worked too.
Right.
So, well, Thanatos had his tricks, but he had his limitations. So, and he cast his...
You know what?
His thing over the top of you. So,
one other thing is, on the plus side, okay, Emrys, the advantage of Dimitri not having spent all his power to try and do that would have been that you lost 4 points of constitution, if that wasn't?
Yep.
Well, that wouldn't have quite killed Dimitri. He would have had 1 left.
Okay. A moment later, they, with you floating over the Emerald River, and you find yourself swept back to the prison. And them freeing Asterius from his sheath. You see he is just a shriveled husk of what he was, having given most of his power to you. And they turn to Thanatos, and you hear them say, "So, eldest, in this you have passed far beyond your usual worm-like gnawing at the edges of order. Strong as you are, we are all massed against you, a power that even you cannot long withstand. Have you anything to say before punishment?" "Yes," Thanatos responds quietly. "Having pressing business elsewhere, I regrettably decline with the engagement. Follow me, those who dare." And with that, his shadowy form distorts, twists like a tornado, and funnels down a glowing oval that appears from nowhere. A gate of some kind hangs in the emptiness after he departs. The other immortals cry out, "Nightstorm," they cry. "He cannot be so desperate." Almost as one, all the immortals turn towards you. They say, "Listen closely. There are realms that even the immortals fear to go. The nature of law of those dimensions is such that our power evaporates, leaving only a husk behind. Thanatos has chosen such a refuge, thinking to discourage our pursuit. He gambles that his great power will let him survive long enough to make his way to safety on his home plane. We cannot follow, but you, mortals, can make the journey safely and survive there with your own abilities. Within Nightstorm, you can briefly face Thanatos as one of your own. Will you try to defeat him and return him here? Choose quickly as the moments count."
Plummet immediately agrees.
Okay. You see the giant dinosaur Car the Preserver instantly create a dimensional transport device that looks like a small wand, which he hands to Simply Red. So this will return you and Thanatos here, should you succeed. Meanwhile, the other Immortals are bathing you in power, strengthening them more. Against the remnants of the Outer's power, you will need all of it, they say. Passage through the portal is easy enough, though slightly disoriented. Beyond it is. You're tossed into a rift of stormy darkness. Yet your vision is unimpaired. The gulfs above you and below flash with lights that explode in stark and frozen colour. In the distance you see lurid bands of darkness that swirl through the void, splitting and merging like wind-tossed waves. There's a smell of candle wax on the cold wind. You spot a huge, wavering, translucent sphere in the air, wobbly mirror-like bubbles that appear from nowhere in an instant, then vanish. One appears not far away. It makes the hair on your arms prickle like lightning about to strike. You feel a wave of weakness and pain, but it passes as the bubble snaps taut and bursts. Half the power you gained is gone. Each of you lose half your constitution.
Does that affect our hit points? Or...
Yes, it does.
Okay.
So when you say half the constitution...
Half the
it's
constitution
half of the
score.
current?
Half of your current constitution score.
So, alright. So do we have to affect our hit points, or are you going to do that for us?
I'm allowing you to sort that yourself.
Wait until we get into a combat where hit points count at this stage, because certainly in Dimitri's case, he's going to die of constitution life before he dies of hit point life.
There's a good chance that will happen. A large concentration of magical power seems to be creating these bubbles. And you see Thanatos is hovering not far away, apparently trying to create another dimensional gateway. He looks different. A flickering shadow, pulsating malignantly. He looks much smaller too, hardly larger than your worst nightmare. But it seems to be having trouble making the portal. But when he notices you, he speaks with the same quiet confidence. So they send children for the labours they could not face themselves. Typical, he says. He laughs and goes back to his work.
Can I run up and strike him? Like, is he close enough for that?
You can. Okay,
Can I yell out, you do not run from responsibility?
I will call initiative and see how you all act.
Okay, so now hit points might be important.
Because I did mention in today's post on Facebook that you would be getting to fight a god.
Yeah. Because yes. So we go. Dimitri's hit points have gone down somewhat.
So we were on max hit points?
You would have been healed to maximum hit points when you appeared in front of Asterius.
Do we have our equipment? And do magical items and things like that work?
Everything appears to work because you will it to.
Okay. So, in the case of Dimitri with this amulet of health, as far as hit points goes, he still keeps Constitution 19.
That will work.
Okay. As far as his actual Constitution goes, he's almost dead, but it may not have to recover the hit points.
That is also true. Let me just make sure I heal everyone to max, and you worry about...
4 Constitution, so I've got 19 hit points.
I've got 5 Constitution.
So you're all considered full... Oh, sorry.
All considered full. 1 hit point each.
There we go. That should eventually pop through properly.
I think what Martin was trying to communicate was the one-hit kill that we're about to deal with.
That also applies.
So what was Dimitri's initiative?
Good. Quick off the mark. Total of 9.
9. That feels so fantastic. What about Playman? Rolling for Playman?
I get a 19 for Playman.
That's right.
No, it was 19.
Yes, he does, but it's alright. I already rolled it and I got 19 in total.
Okay.
So you should have accepted my roll. I got 19 on the die for you.
And how about Willie? What is Willie's initiative?
That's a total of 8.
Total of 8. And what is Simply Red's initiative?
18.
Okay, so Playman, as Simply Red starts to charge forward, you get to go first. How do you take on the god of death, destruction, and everything you care about?
Sorry guys, I just have to go away for a second. I'm just going to delay.
You hold your action. So now we go back to Simply Red. Apparently, Playman just goes, huh? As you rush forward.
Typical. I would like to channel every part of the murder hobo halfling vibe that I carry
Mm-hmm.
and strike forward with my wave. Is that going to be a problem?
As you go to strike forward with Wave.
Yeah.
You do notice that Wave is currently not supporting Proteus. He's currently supporting you. Wave is an extension of yourself and can become whatever you want it to.
Damn effing right. All right, let's go.
So what does your character perceive as the most majestic weapon he can ever use?
Like a really, really. Have you seen Princess Bride?
Yep.
Never.
His father's sword.
Okay, you come out with the most magnificent dual fencing sword you have ever seen, which is basically a rapier.
Yeah. Will it have the same attributes as Wave for attack?
It basically makes Wave look like it's a toy in comparison.
But it does feel uncomfortable in your hands because it's designed for a six-fingered man.
This is true. So now but when I attack in terms of damage, will I?
Basically, if you hit, and it will be the equivalent of you taking down a mountain.
Fair enough. I would like to attempt because my turn has 2 attacks, and then I'm going to use action surge.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So first one.
At this stage, your turn has 4 attacks.
Oh.
And as a bonus action, you can make another attack, and then you can have an action search and have 4 more attacks.
Okay. So the first thing I rolled was a 20.
Okay, natural 20?
Yep.
Okay, you do this most amazing strike, stabbing deep into his bony form.
Excellent.
As you hit quite well, you do see a form of irritation appear on Thanatos' face.
Good. And I don't track damage. You're going to handle it yourself, right?
I will track some form of damage, yes.
Yep. Cool. Next is 22. Not native, obviously.
On a 22, you still manage to strike him, causing less damage, but it still does irritate him.
Cool. Next is 17.
17, he manages to move his scythe, knocking your blade out of the way.
Fair enough. And 25.
Here's another amazing strike. Not as good as your first one, but you do hit past him before he can use his scythe to deflect.
Now I get my bonus attack, is that right?
Yep, that is correct.
21.
21, you manage to get him before he can deflect it again, scoring another major hit on him. You see part of his rib go flying off.
And you said that I could action surge, which would give me another 4 attacks.
That would
right?
give you another 4 attacks, yes.
I do that. Should I just grab 4 die and just roll them at once? Might be easier.
I am happy for you to do so.
Alright, let's grab 4. Okay, so 1, 2... Alright, 2 misses, and 1 which is 21 and 1 which is 24.
Okay, so you manage to strike him twice more. You look like... He does look as if he's felt it, but considering he really is a skeletal Grim Reaper, it's very hard to tell how much damage you've actually inflicted, though he is missing a chunk of bone.
Excellent.
He turns back towards you, while one hand is still trying to finish his opening. And he tries to hit you. Okay, let's see what he's going to try to do. Okay. His first swing.
Yep.
His first swing seems to send his scythe flying as you see him use a bit of his power to change that from a 1 all the way around to a 20. And basically, while the scythe went flying from his hand, it came back and struck you right in the back.
Okay, you know, a scythe is just sort of a curved blade. It worked like a boomerang.
Yeah. It's a boomer scythe, I get it.
As you realise, Immortals can basically change dice rolls at the cost of personal power.
So, on the black side, whilst he actually is going to kill you, you probably hurt him more by making him do that than you did in your 5 attacks.
Yep.
So he takes away 3 points of your constitution.
Oh, I have 2 left, just for the count.
Mm-hmm. And he spends the rest of his actions trying to open the portal. Dimitri is up next.
Dimitri is going to draw forth Yem's diamond.
Yep. And it now is your diamond.
And if it's a similar idea of the perfect form type stuff, I'm not entirely certain there's a player off the top of my head.
Mm-hmm.
Is Dimitri he aware of the fact that it's the part of the Immortal Crown, so the Hollow World Crown?
I believe he has that awareness now, yes.
Okay, in which case then, yes. He's drawing it forth and placing the crown on his head
Mm-hmm.
To then call forth a beam to blind and burn down Thanatos.
Have a spell attack roll as the beam of immense power comes out of your forehead, very much like Vision from the Avengers.
Yep. Where am I?
And is that accessing Yem's diamond, or
That is accessing the diamond as Dimitri's diamond.
right?
I've had it for long enough. It must be mine by now. 25 on the spell attack roll.
Okay, it seems to strike deeply and hit Thanatos quite nastily as you see a flake of bone go flying.
Okay. Does it have the blinding effect at all?
It does not seem to blind him because you notice he has no eyes.
I know, okay. Obviously, being a skull, it's probably not the eyes, but yes. So,
there are benefits for having an appearance that looks dead.
Yep. Yeah, okay, so obviously it's only causing him damage, but it's not going to cause anything else as far as ongoing effects or anything like that goes. So, Dimitri will try and maintain his distance. I think as much as anything else, he doesn't need to call attention to himself other than a nice crown of the hollow water upon his head.
That is true. And now,
a crown of Dimitri's beloved hollow world.
And now we have Willie. What would Willie like to do?
I would like to use Redrian's staff to cast a spell.
It basically transforms into whatever staff Willie most wishes to be holding, as you feel the connection to it being your staff, no longer Redrian's staff. As the power is now yours, not Redrian's.
And to be fair, from Willie's perspective, the fact that, considering the fact that the other gods gave him power, he's probably more powerful than Benekanda right now.
Technically, he is. So, what would you like to throw at Thanatos with your awesome magic staff?
What night level spell are you using?
Is that what I get access to?
If you can imagine casting a spell, you can cast it. You are the equivalent of a 20th level wizard at this stage, or 20th level bard, or 20th level whatever you wish to be.
can I just wish him out of existence, or is it a bit more detailed than that?
I
Well,
wouldn't recommend that as an option.
you can attempt to wish him out of existence, except it may just damage him, and he can potentially turn it back on you.
All right. Is there a
Big-
particular type of energy that he may be more susceptible to?
Well, being a creature of entropy and someone just hit it with a blast of fire, if you were to hit it with a blast of cold, you'd be basically dealing double the damage normally, because creatures of darkness do not like opposing elements hitting them in the same round.
Okay, I'll do that.
Okay, give me a ranged attack roll as you send a beam of ice at him.
All right. So that's a 20.
Natural 20?
No, 11 plus the 8 or so 19. Sorry, yeah.
Okay, so yes, you do hit him quite soundly with it, and you see cracks start to appear all over his body as a resounding boom hits his form. You think it was very much like the crit that Simply Red did on his first strike, you did with your blast. By timing it
Sorry,
with...
I'm using my level 8 stat, so whatever the...
It doesn't matter probably too much anyway. It's the idea
Okay,
of
so it's
whether
hitting.
your blow hits or doesn't hit, really.
And I've scaled it to the fact that gods are as easy to hit as you are in this realm.
Okay.
And yes, you hit him with a resounding crack.
Alright, so is that a certain number of D10 or D6 or...
No dice to roll. You've basically caused the equivalent constitution damage that he causes on his attacks.
Right.
He who
Okay.
drops the opponent first wins, pretty much. As the round ends, a big bubble of life-sucking force hits nearby, reducing everyone's constitution by half.
Half our current.
Half your current, including Thanatos.
Did Plowman attempt to have a hit in that round?
He did not.
Plumman's ready to act.
Plowman gets to act before his constitution is
Yeah.
sucked.
Sorry, well, my apologies. I was waiting for you guys to stop talk.
All good.
All good. I just didn't want you to
I was
forget.
waiting for you guys to
I want a
stop
couple of
there.
attacks from you.
Yeah.
So you go rushing up.
Yeah. So can Plumman act?
He can act.
Fantastic. Plumman thinks about what he's going to do for a brief blink of a moment. Sighs deeply, looks at his very Demetriesque weapon. Looks to.
As he looks at the weapon, it becomes
Looks
whatever
to this
weapon he
very-
most wants to have in his hands. It changes in his hand.
So you've got
Sorry, can you
Dimitri
say that
weapon.
again?
As he looks at his Demetri-esque weapon, it changes to the weapon he most desires to be wielding right at this time.
So it doesn't change at all.
Yeah. So. Shut up.
It took a little bit.
Yeah. So it was a
It was a glaive before.
Rancior, right? I think.
Yep.
No, it
Ranchura,
was a Rancior or a glaive.
you had
Glaive, but
both.
It doesn't matter too much.
Yeah. Either way, it turns into an exceptionally powerful glaive. Flyman looks to him, looks down to the glaive.
And the glaive has
summons
the
up all
symbology of the
power that he
horses.
can. Sorry.
You see the shape of the horse's head in the glaive.
Fuck. Of course, I have no reception right now. Fantastic.
I said it has the shape of the
Um,
horse's head in the glaive.
Yeah, I found a tiny little spot where the phone works.
Are you not charging in on
He will
horseback?
channel the power of his ancestors. No. No, he's already on foot. He's led this whole campaign on foot. As such, he will channel the power of his horses, of his family, of his ancestors, and strike as hard as he can.
Okay, he goes rushing in. Someone roll for... Unless you can roll for yourself right now.
All right. I can roll.
Then give us a roll and see how well you're apt to.
I roll a natural 19, so that'll be 27.
Okay, you strike soundly on him. You see a chunk of bone go flying. I believe you have 2 attacks.
Fantastic. Natural 20.
Natural 20. Okay, so with your natural 20, you manage to separate both his hands from his form.
That'll make it hard for him to manipulate the door, whatever he was doing. Unless, of course, they keep acting and he'll attack us undeterred.
Just as the bubble burst, dropping everyone's hit point constitution by half again.
Yeah.
So I'm on 1.
As am I.
So Demiki's feeling healthy on 2 then.
Yeah, unfortunately, the more powerful you are, the quicker it drops. And you get a from him that he will offer you whatever you wish to let him go.
Oh, there's no way in hell. Plumman continues to attack with a roll of 25.
Okay.
Like, he's gone into proper berserker mode.
Okay, so then you strike him, and there is a big flash as Willie's wand goes off.
Willie, what were you doing in the corner?
I was using my bagpipes of cold.
I still have one more attack.
And next thing you know, you're lying on the slopes near the Aztec people, looking up at the Hollow World sun.
The Hollow World Sun.
Okay.
Yep.
So we got blinked out of.
So we're no longer in the Emerald. No, we're no longer in the Night Storm. We've been returned to the Hollow World.
Are we sure?
Flamin's still enraged, looks up at the sun, realizes he's in the Hollow World, and starts screaming in anguish and pain and fear, saying, "We're still in this shithole after all of this, after everything we've done and been through, after we saved gods. We're still in this hellhole. Why?"
On
Can I
the
do
bright
perception?
side, on the bright side there, David, because you didn't charge in on the back of a horse to kill Thanatos, you haven't lost the horse now.
Yeah. So, just so you know, his Hail Mary was he was going to kill every single one of his horses and vow never to ride a horse again if they paid attention to him.
Can I roll perception to make sure that this is actually real and he hasn't, like, tricked us?
Okay, so have a perception roll.
It's going to be... crap. Perception... 17.
Okay, looking around you, you get the sense of the gods are all looking down at you, amused at the rant of Plowman as he's going off, yelling into the sky.
And do we still have the power of, what's his name with us?
No, you feel as if there's an emptiness inside you.
You got cut out by David's truck, I think.
You feel an
Sorry.
emptiness inside you as if a big chunk of you, what made you so much more than human, is gone.
And do we still have our con damage?
No, that's all gone. You actually feel yourself in the best health you've ever been in your life. Most of your breaks and damage has been mended where it's appropriate for your culture. So, so people who like ritual scarring, the scars are there. Those who don't have no scars.
If my hair's still red,
Carmen looks up into the sky once more and screams out, "Don't you dare take responsibility for this. We did this, not you."
Okay.
Is Simarak watching?
Simarak is watching.
Can we ask him to come down and talk to us? Or an avatar himself?
He says his awareness, as are the other gods, are on you right now. They are debating what they should offer each of you as a thank you for saving this world's timeline.
Did I serve him well?
You have served him well.
That's all I need. Can I tell him that, not just... That's a character talking, not me.
Yeah. And he is more than happy for you to continue serving him into the future and even provide you with more guidance. He asks, is there anything...
Fine.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
He asks...
Does Plumman hear that conversation?
Plumman does hear that conversation.
He then looks to Simply Red, looks back to Sinra. "Don't listen to that idiot. I want a reward. Give me a summonable horse."
He says, each of you will get an award appropriate to what you have done, he says. And who you serve.
"I serve myself."
So what is it you most wish for, O Master of Horses?
"I wish for a gem to be summonable to me wherever I be."
You wish to be
become a
summonable
wheel
to...
Kenzai?
You wish to be summonable to wherever a gem is? Yeah.
"I wish to summon a gem to me."
Regem, okay, not a gem. My mistake. There was a bit of an accent there. I'm not used to my horse friend. So he makes Regem a summonable mount for you. You can bring him to you with a 10-minute ritual.
This is not World of Warcraft.
He is also now a celestial creature. Not just a celestial subtype, he is fully celestial.
Plumman just sees dollar signs. He knows that Regem is also a stud as well. Suddenly made him rich.
So he has given you your greatest reward. He turns to Willie and says, "What does the master of the Darrakan nation wish as a reward for your service to the gods themselves?"
Is that to me?
Yeah, that is to Willie.
Well, I'd like to become a Wood Elf Kenzai, but I don't know if that's within the...
Yeah, you would like
remit.
you'd like to become a wood elf instead of a halfling.
And a Kenzai, yeah.
What's the Kenzai from?
Monk.
Which book though? I'm just curious.
The Xanathar's Guide.
Okay. He is happy to make that change for you. Though once made, it cannot be unmade, he says.
Oh, yeah, I'll be happy with that.
Okay, he gestures and you see the spiritual version made flesh from what you perceived yourself as.
Right, cool.
You are now a Kenzai of... you will be 9th level next session.
Nice.
Okay, so he then turns to Dimitri and says, "What is it you most wish for?" I can provide many things, including transportation. Though I was going to offer after I had assisted you if you would like to be returned home. So you don't need to wish for that.
Well, okay, certainly returning to the world under the sky is certainly my primary goal right now. But as I say, I would not wish to waste or denigrate such an offer from yourself beforehand. for such a thing, because I'm sure I can make my own way out when I don't have other distractions. But I will take transport if that's available. As far as reward,
You have all the gods' attention right now. What is it that Dimitri wishes for most? And you hear Halab saying, "Yes, descendant, what do you most wish for?" Acknowledgement from your god that he is your ancestor is something you had not expected.
yeah, okay, hey. Dimitri is in particular religious anyway, so your god, that's a bit of a statement.
You do see the family resemblance.
Yes. Yeah. I'm sure he looks a lot like me, yes. Having woken up on the ground there, I'm guessing he discovered that the crown was no longer on his head.
It was no longer on his head, yes.
But he still got the gem.
He still has the gem.
So,
You realise it wasn't the actual gem you took with you, it was your perception of the gem.
right. So, well, he'll suggest that perhaps the crown should be reformed.
You hear a voice from behind as you see a dinosaur of immense perspective come before your eyes. He says, "Unfortunately, the crown was broken, so what was made cannot be unmade."
Or what was unmade can't be made.
No, the crown was used to make the hollow world and the spell of preservation as you see it. While the crown is unformed, the spell cannot be unravelled. That which preserves this place is tied into the crown.
So you're saying that you won't reform the crown, not that it can't be reformed.
But he chooses not to have the crown reformed.
Right.
Says that would be an epic task, unbefitting of a simple request.
Understood.
If you were to achieve this in your lifetime, you would indeed be worthy of a standing amongst our ranks, he says.
Well, perhaps I can delay requesting of a reward until I return to the surface to see what state the world is in.
The world is in much disarray.
We discovered that the Immortals had abandoned it for some period of time. It appeared that there were problems in the world.
We have been gone for more than 4 months of your time.
Yep.
And a lot has happened in that time. There is unrest all over the globe, from where we normally answer prayers on a regular basis to unanswered prayers and magic going haywire. On the day we disappeared, magic itself failed. And anything that was relying on magic had to be enchanted, except for most items, which seem to recover after about a week.
Mm-hmm.
So the damage is widespread, which we cannot actually undo easily. He is saying he can offer you a personal boon of knowledge.
Well, that will certainly be the first step as to what I was aiming to discover when we returned.
What is Dimitri's intelligence?
Currently 20. 20.
Okay, your intelligence goes up to 22.
Okay.
Says that should cover your desires for assistance. You should be able to think solutions for issues that you find upstairs. Now, the remaining people will get a chance to ask their wishes between now and next session. But he does now turn to Willie and say, and what does the great Simply Red wish he could become now that he has saved the multiverse?
Is that directed at me or at Simply Red?
At Simply Red.
If you started with Willie and then
Sorry.
I was a bit confused.
I meant
Yeah, sorry.
Simply Red.
Yeah.
My brain's a bit tired, unfortunately, so sorry
No
about that.
worries.
So
We ran you through it.
Yep. So he turns to Simply Red and asks him, you have said you don't need a reward, but what is something that you most wish for?
Relevance.
Okay, he gives you a deed to a property in the islands of Irendi that says that you are a landowner and have a right to sit on the captain's table of the Council of Pirates.
I burst into tears and thank him quietly and step backwards.
And basically, you can now call yourself Captain Red, and actually be treated as a captain by all pirates everywhere. As you notice, you have a captain's ring on your hand that you've only ever seen on the major pirate captains of your area.
I will accept this on one condition. This is for the rest of the party. You will now all refer to me as Cap. I love that I heard that sigh.
Well, little Eddie, it's your first hand in three.
Well, thank you. That's awesome.
And he says, for you, this is far more relevant than anything else you
Is that
dreamed
enough?
of. What was that?
Unfortunately, you cut out, David.
Yeah, Plum said, well, little.
We got the damn it part, but we're missing the rest.
And we heard Plum says,
I'm sure it sounded amazing on your end. As everyone turns and looks at you as no sound is coming out, apparently Plum is dumbstruck by looking at the gods. I think we're going to have to say that we can't actually hear David at the moment. He appears to be in a blind spot. We get a moment and then nothing. Okay, so Asterius Simarak turns to the rest of you and says, unless you wish to make your own way out of Hollow World, he can provide you with means to take you back to the back home. Do you wish to go home now and reunite with those you have left behind?
Yes, please.
Yes, let me out now. Get me the hell out of here. Come on, right now. Don't mess around. Let's go.
however, the
However, let's go.
You notice Playman disappear as he says that.
Thank God.
can we retrieve the caravan from the Temple of Winds in Dashur?
And do we get to keep our artifacts?
He says you get to keep what you have collected so far before you went into the Emerald River. At that point, then you're no longer carrying physical items, but what you believed you had with you. So, the items you carried with you to the Temple of the Winds is what you still have with you, and he gives Dimitri the caravan and all the people who were shrunken with it.
Mm-hmm.
So you can return them to Galantry.
And can I also, we got enough of the powder or potion or things like that to try and return all these people, or?
He is happy to provide you with a item to dispel all of it at once.
Okay.
Just break the item over the top and they will return to their normal size.
Okay.
And
Not quite necessarily perfect for Dimitri's perspective, because he did think, oh, hang on, maybe I can just lose a couple of the caravans full of the gold and cargo and things like that.
as you realise that the god probably saw into all that and gave you the perfect response. And wishes you safe travels as you all fade out and appear back in Durakan City, outside the Knight's Rivet Inn, and are greeted warmly by Benny Kander, as well as a overexcited horse who has not seen its master in many months.
And a very bruised and battered page boy.
Carmen ignores everyone and everything, jumps on Regem, and just rides into the distance for the next however long he feels like.
Okay, so he has a feeling of satisfaction riding his horse, as his horse feels like it's not even moving as the scenery blows under you.
Fantastic.
It's the closest you felt to flying while being on a horse.
Well, it is the most beautiful way to travel.
And Redrian greets you warmly and brings you into the inn, where you have the smell of coffee and chocolate greeting you as you sit down and rest. And he says, we have a lot to talk about, as we will be ending the session early tonight, giving you a chance to figure out what it is you would like to do, as you will be spending some downtime leveling up and going to level 9.
First time in 16 months. That's good.
Hey, you worked for it, you earned it, and you did save the setting. So you guys are the heroes. When you do the hard work, you actually get the reward. And that was 10 pages of story you got through in about an hour and a half? No, 2 hours. And it was actually me not skipping anything, but going through it all with you in detail. So you did manage to do the story. You're not sure if you defeated Thanatos, what happened there, or what the gods are doing behind it. But you're not surprised, because most gods don't actually tell you about the behind the scenes.
And let's face
Oh,
it,
Clement's still going to call himself Godslave.
Right. He has a right to.
Question: our weapons that converted into our gods for a minute,
Yep.
are they going back to normal?
They have gone back to normal, because the ones that changed were only your perception of them, not the actual weapons themselves.
Fair enough.
The thing about the gods is they warp perception to their liking when they do stuff.
I just feel like a rapier called Thanatos' Bane would be really cool.
It would be very cool.
I don't know that you necessarily want to draw further attention to yourself, though.
By the way, my last attack, I rolled it. I also got a screenshot of it. It was a natural 20.
Well, maybe Thanatos is dead.
So, no, like the first, second, and third attack, obviously, I had to crit the 2 good attacks, but that last one where we all disappeared out of existence, yeah, that was a natural 20.
Marvelous.
That's awesome.
Okay,
Yeah.
so each
But I am so glad that you guys succeeded in swaying the gods.
of you will.
Give up writing.
Yep.
So while leveling, you'll each also have 20,000 gold to add to your own personal stash from Redrian, from payment for your services to the Glantrians.
That's a big upgrade from 3,000 to 20,000.
Well, you also get the 3,000 from him as well. So this is payment for services in bringing back the missing caravan. That was a bonus that you got because Jeremy remembered to bring back the caravan.
Yeah, so what's this whole party business getting in? We're doing downtime. Dimitri might start a bit of a crypto about Galantry and return it by himself.
You still only get 20 grand for it, and they deposit the 20 grand in the other people's accounts thanks to Redrian
Yep.
intervening.
I think I know where that last natural 20 is going.
So you guys have finally finished the Hollow World storyline in Nightstorm.
All right, so now is the time for us to go underground or somewhere else that horses can't go.
If that is your wish, we can do
I'm
that.
thinking a nice big ocean voyage, in fact.
Yeah. Good idea. Go fuck stuff. Oh, sorry.
I'm sure that Simply Red, Cap, he's going to want to fly a ship around now, so therefore we should be on the ocean for a while.
Well, I'm pretty sure I'll own a few boats.
That's right. So, unfortunately, they won't be big enough to hold horses, but...
Actually, that's a good question, Martin. Does that mean that I know there's a special skill, a feat you can get where you go into any port and able to get passage?
Yep.
Could I assume that I have enough boats to pull that off, or...?
That is a background option for people instead of feats. So yes, you can basically say as a pirate captain, a lot of people will give you passage without you needing to pay for it.
It probably comes out of the fact that you asked for renown.
This is true. Well, technically the word was relevant.
Sorry, yes.
It does give you a certain amount of renown.
You're relevant to the nautical community.
You're irrelevant to the people you care about most.
Awesome. That was fun. Thanks, guys.
Did you say awesome?
Well, from I'm sure from Playman's perspective, everything is now awesome.
Everything is awesome. Everything is cool when you got your horse back.
I feel like this is the end of the movie, and in the credits, a horse is going to lean up and go, "I'm actually a cat."
Yes, and the thing is, his horse can now talk. It is a talking horse.
That horse is an asshole, though.
Yes. A celestial asshole.
Cool.
Okay. While you were gone, the horse made a friend. There was this lovely owl it met.
I'm just imagining something.
The song Holy War because it's time.
I was just imagining Dave throwing something across the table at Jeremy
Absolutely.
with that comment.
Yep. I would pick Emrys up and throw him at you.
Okay, so guys, I will be calling it a night there. Thank you for finishing the awesome campaign. You did manage to be gods for a time amongst the other gods of the setting.
That's pretty cool.
Dimitri almost lived up to his potential.
And unfortunately,
before you sign off,
Yep.
Before you sign off, what I'd like to do is, especially at the end of this campaign, I'd like to thank you for all of your hard work that you've put in with this session so far. I'm sure, speaking on everybody's behalf, we really, really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
It's okay. I've enjoyed doing it.
Thank you so much for a really, really cool thing.
It has been fun, and just think, I have another 12 years of this planned out already in detail.
I do.
And David, only 9 of it's in the Hollow World.
Yeah.
So how many more times are you going back, Dimitri?
Hey, you had to be dragged out kicking and screaming this time.
I imagine 3rd time's the charm.
It was actually, like, I was very tempted when I was talking about rewards from the gods. I was thinking, as a character, he probably could ask for, I want to never come back in here again. But as a player, I thought, I don't know if that'll actually fit the campaign.
And amusingly, before we sign out, we do have a mark online at the moment. who may want to join in. I'm not sure if he's going to join in because no, there he is. Hi, Mark. What you've just missed is they just finished the Hollow World storyline.
Oh,
Yep, we just destroyed the world. I mean, saved the world.
oh, it's all right. It's all good. All good. I just thought I'd say hi, that's all.
So we are still recording and haven't finished it. We're just cleaning up the session now. It's okay. You can.
No, you're part of it, dude.
You were a big part of the storyline for quite a while.
And the as I say, it's simply the results of tonight just back up my statement from last night when the party were concerned that, hey, all the mates have been lost in the world, but I told them, it's okay, Dimitri's on the job.
And so, yes, it took you from session 38 to session 66 to complete the Hollow World storyline. And that was about 16 months all up.
This is a fair while.
And now Dimitri can go back and actually recover Dr. Dark's remains from bottom of his castle.
Oh yeah, Dr. Dark.
And
Take a while to think.
collect those magic items.
Don't I have the hand still?
You can do whatever you want with that character. It's just you should what to have for Bradshaw's girlfriend. That's all. So.
Yes, there is a certain halfling assassin who may come looking.
Yes, but that's okay. I'm sure Bradshaw would make sure that's sorted out. Wouldn't hurt anyone in the party.
Okay, so I'm going to end the session here. So I'll put the end music up. If you want to stay on and chat afterwards, you're welcome to.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Hey, Dave. How you going?
So going to end credits now, and if you want to talk, be back in a moment.
No problem.
I'm gonna head off, and I'll see you guys later. Have fun.
See you later, Emerist.
Right. Bye.
Bye bye.